about, and I used to tell the legislature, I don't care what you put in the budget and what you authorize me to do, I can only spend what monies I have.
That's true. That's really true.
And
So I'm interested. I'm
they
still
used to-
interested about this reset or this time with the 6.6% because I understand that you were able to not lay people off through attrition. That's a very practical and reasonable thing, and there's always natural attrition anywhere. But what about if your revenue's not coming in? How do you continue to have revenue to pay for the government, services? And
Well, it's not true that you don't have you have revenues coming in.
you do,
But it's maybe not as much as you would like to have. Yeah?
Right.
There's some reduction. And that's why I think it becomes very important to figure out how you spend those dollars. And the legislature cannot spend those dollars. It's all the executive. And when the legislature gets a budget and they put in the budget a certain amount of dollars, how do you know that that's the true cost of government? How do you know that the government by whatever it means that they have at their disposal can maybe spend less than you think they should be spending and deliver the same quality of service?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure.
So if you put $1 million in a program, and I was chairman of the Ways and Means Committee in 1962, 63, 64, Governor Burns' first term in office, and I had to do the same thing. We didn't have a budget that was balanced, and we had to look at it. We tried to figure out how much money, and we could not. What really puzzled me was if they wanted a program that said $1 million, how do I know sitting in the Ways and Means Committee that that's the exact real cost? How do I know about whether or not they can spend less than that and deliver the same services? And I talked to Governor Burns about that. And the governor, I said, we're having some difficulty, but what really is hard for us is to take the dollars that you say in your budget and how do we know that that's what you really need? Is it possible for you to spend less than amount, and to deliver the service? He said, well, let me try. And that's what he did.
Wow.
And we didn't increase taxes, and he tried to contain the cost by not spending everything that was authorized. You take even a private sector, you take a board of director company, they have a budget that they prepare for the executives to spend, and when they spend that, they put limits on how much for spending, how much revenues that they anticipate. But it's not exact, and it's up to the people who spend that money to be able to make the adjustment necessary to be more efficient maybe and spend less and try to get the same amount of services.
Right. Well, that's what we do in our own home. I think when you get limited budget or less, you still try to figure out, maybe you look for saving coupons, maybe you don't drive your car as much. You reset your priorities, but you still do what you like to do, but maybe not as often, or, someone was saying, maybe you go to L&L Drive-In instead of, to Roy's or for something, so it's just a way
make
to
that adjustment, And that's what government has to do too.
Yeah. So how, bringing it back then to tourism, what kind of adjustments does the tourist industry need to do, in your opinion, this year to get through this really kind of a slowing tourist time?
Yeah. I think they're going to take a hit, and it's not going to come up to the level that they expect, or that they would like to have. And so that's what I think, number one, we have to acknowledge. But in the meantime, we do everything we can to try to market and promote Hawaii, including maybe hotels adjusting their rates to make it possible for a little bit more attractive. People discounts mean a lot to people. You can talk about maybe, okay, you come to Hawaii now, and the hotel rates are not like it used to be. With a discount from the prices that existed last year. And some of those people are going to be taken by, I want to go there now because it's cheaper this year than it was before. You get a better deal now than you before. So I think that kind of thing has to happen also. But the agency that market has to be out there, continue to market and try to get people to come to Hawaii. And I think it's also very important for people to come make them feel that they're coming to Hawaii, and there are some things that are different about Hawaii, the cultural differences, the people differences, the aloha spirit, the things that they can enjoy, different from what they can expect get elsewhere.
Right, that's true. Well, you've been around the tourist industry, obviously with running the Prince and being the governor. Any campaigns that you thought were pretty special? I mean, anything that sticks out in your mind?
I went to, you got to look at the market, and you got to look at where the potential, where you can get the best return. And Japanese travel is down, but the yen is very strong now. And you got to look at that, and strong again buys them more, and so you can try to get them to come to Hawaii, because now, he said, you can spend less, or you spend the same amount, you get more than you can get before. So you have to go, and I think you have to market in Japan, because that's where the market. You have to market in Korea, because more Koreans are coming to Hawaii. I would not go to market in Southeast Asia now, because there aren't that many people who want to come to Hawaii. So you got to look at how you spend your dollars in your marketing effort and try to get them to come to Hawaii. And I think that's what I do. When I was no longer governor, the Gulf War in 1991, when people in Japan were saying, oh, they did not want to come to spend time in Hawaii and enjoy Hawaii, when the Hawaiians were having a tough time. And Governor Ariyoshi at that time asked me if I would take a group to Japan. And I went, and I got meetings with the government and people. And it's very important what kind of people you meet with when you get there. If you meet only with industry people, you're not going to reach them. And you got to have government people that you meet also, who will help you, convince them that it's important, make them feel that they want to help you, and have them also help you market and promote that effort. So I did that for Governor Ariyoshi, and we went to the government, and we went to the private sector, and we had travel industry people coming together with us and putting in some of their travel show. We had the hula dancers coming with us, and we did that. When, after 9/11, Governor Kaitano asked me if I would help him with the marketing efforts in Japan. And I went up and I planned a trip with the governor, made all the appointments for him to come and meet with people, and the industry people to meet with individuals that were important. I just believe very strongly that you got to work with the industry people and try to market that, but you got to have the government also beginning to understand and feel that, hey, Hawaii has a problem, and we want to help, and Hawaii is a special place for us, and we want to help them.
Do you think, this is very personal, do you think it really makes a difference that you're Japanese and you're being our representative and our voice, going over there because maybe of a protocol, and also your prestige? I mean, you're a very important person to Hawaii. You're, and I was kind of thinking along the line, when you go see the Queen of England, it's different to have President Obama go talk to the Queen of England than it would be, let's say, the city and county of Honolulu Mayor Mufi Hanneman. So is that true in terms of working with the Japanese and inviting them? Is there a certain protocol or something that really works culturally? I don't know.
Japanese respect positions.
Yes.
And I think they try to help me because, one of the Japanese maybe, but because I was the governor of the state, and I went to them and I asked for help. Asking for help is very important, and expressing gratitude after it all happened is very important. That's the two parts that you gotta understand and gotta do.
Okay.
So I think that it's a relationship. I established a good relationship with officials or people in Taiwan, in Korea, and those markets are important to Hawaii. So we try to pick the markets that are important, and we spent our dollars where we thought it would bring about the results that we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. So let's say if I was to go over, if I understood the asking for help, but also the gratitude part, that would be the critical two pieces. And you think I could do that and be successful?
Well, you could up to a point, but you're not governor.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have the title, and I think the title is very important.
Okay. Right. Well, I think it's really important to know, because I think marketing, and I'm not an expert at marketing, but it's clear that you have to understand what you're doing when you market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is a specialty. It is.
Yeah, yes.
It has to be done in a right way.
Right.
And
you see, our marketing, I went to the government and for Caetano and Hawaii, I set those meetings up.
right.
But during the time that I went there,
Yes.
I did one step further. I met the different prefectures that we went to. I met the governors of the prefecture, and asked the governors also for help, and told them that what circumstances we were facing, and we needed help. And it was important for them at that level to try to tell their people, hey, go try to help Hawaii, and try to get more people out there.
Wow, that's insightful.
Mm-hmm.
That is very insightful.
And then when
Yeah.
Prime Minister Nakasone was there, Prime Minister Nakasone, when I talked to him about tourism being an export business for us.
Mm-hmm.
You see, our federal government, Commerce Department, did not really understand that. And when I was chairman of the Governors Conference on Tourism, we talked about tourism is an export business. People come, they buy services, they buy product, and you don't have to wrap it up, and you don't have to bother to send it out.
Mm-hmm.
A normal product, export product, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But they come and they buy the services and they spend money. So it's an export business. And I told Prime Minister Nakasone that tourism is an export business, and from Japan's point of view, when they were having this trade deficit, America was having trade deficit, and America was getting angry with Japan because of that trade deficit. I told them, you know, if Japanese can travel abroad and they take part in export business and they're helping Americans export, then it's going to be a good thing. And Nakasone told me at that time, he said, we have 5 million, this is 1984, around there, 84, 85. He said, we have 5 million visitors who now travel abroad. He said, I want those numbers to go to 10 million visitors, double the amount of people who travel outside of Japan. He said, I'm going to do that. But he said, it's up to you folks, it's up to you, Hawaii, to try to get those people who are going to come out and do what you have to do in order to get them to come to increased numbers coming to you, to Hawaii.
Is that because of this deficit? I mean, why would he want people to travel? What would be the push?
Because he wanted, because they had the trade deficit and they wanted to they had a trade surplus, we had a trade deficit, and he wanted to help to balance that deficit, and he felt this was a good way to do that. And then he went from 10 million, and in 2 years' time, they doubled the numbers. And then when Prime Minister Takeshita came in, and Takeshita told me, he's going to push for 5 more million, and they went up during the time that he was there to 5 more million, 15 million. And I mentioned that because government out there can play a role in how they can encourage people to go out and travel.
I never thought that.
Yeah. One thing about the travel industry also, you know, during my time when I was working, and we never traveled very much. And when we went to the mainland, it was a very special trip. We planned 5 years from now, we're going to go to the mainland, we're going to go to Disney World and Disneyland and this kind of thing. But you know, today, it's very different. Every person has vacation. When I was working, for example, practicing law, I didn't know what vacation was.
Yes, okay.
But today, every person who works has a vacation. And every person, because they have that, the families also talk about getting vacation too. And so they plan every year, people go and travel that, if you compare travel today compared to what it was say, 20 years ago, people travel a lot more than they used to.